Hi there. I got a replacement unit in, and except for one little problem, this one arrived with the controllers in, and there's already a latch that is broken right out of the gate. That's kind of a pain in the butt, but it still plays. It plays fine. So now that I have a working unit in place, I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the gameplay really quickly through, and then we're going to go ahead and do a demonstration of what you really want to see, and that's the SD card playback. Alright, here's that main menu screen again, and then we're going to go into the internal game menu. So I'll show you all the sports titles here, and I'm just going to go ahead and play through these real quick. I'll actually show you the list first. So there's that. And I'm going to go over to the shooting menu. 40 and 1. And arcade finally. Alright, let's take a look real quick at Tetris, see what they did with it. Okay. Just trying to play this one-handed. Okay, so not exactly the Tetris that you know and love, but yeah, that was a bad move with one hand. This is bad. But it gets the job done. Yeah, it would be decent. It'd be a decent little thing to pass the time. Let's check the SD card now. Okay, and the first time I got this unit, I never got this screen here. It said SD file path not found, and then there were some errors, and eventually it glitched if you saw the other video. I'm looking at through the camera right now, and I can actually see that the colors are not as nice as I actually can see them in person. So you're actually not seeing a good representation of what the colors display. The screen is actually very nice, very crisp, very blue. Contrast is very good. In order to get to this screen, you need to have a card, an SD card. Format that card. I used a program called SD Card Formatter on the Mac, and then formatted the card. Then I created a folder called WM Game folder in all caps, and then I slid my ROMs in there. And notice I don't have any zip files. They're just the standard NES. All of these worked for me, kind of. So I want to kind of show you how they work. So let's go down to some Super Mario. Alright, so far so good. It looks pretty nice. Again, trust me on this, the colors look really nice. So I'll go ahead and play some. And right away we've got a problem. Listen to how slow that is. So it's playing everything in half speed. Now with all that said, even though it's excruciating to think about playing Mario Brothers at this speed, it's still better than the built-in games that came with it pretty much. Yeah, so you get the idea. It's pretty darn slow. So let's try a different game. Okay, going back in, and we'll go to Super Mario 3. You can see the load time on some of the larger games takes a little while for this little machine. So it can read the games, it just reads them so slow that you probably won't want to play them. It There's still something pretty cool about seeing these games though in microform. The other bad thing, and this can be a deal breaker with some people, the controls are completely reversed as well. As opposed to a standard NES controller. Um, and so if you get used to moves where you're running, yeah, that sucks. But if you get used to moves where you're running and everything, with that B button on that left side, and then all of a sudden you get over here to this controller, it just sucks. Um, yeah. So even at even him running, this is his speed. That's his, yeah. Yeah, that sounds great. If you pick a game that has a lot of stuff going on, like 1942, a lot of stuff for the most part happening on the screen once the action gets going, um, it's not absolutely horrible or unplayable. Button responses still work great during that. It's just everything is just going to be going a lot slower. Just think of it as though it's giving you a lot more time to beat the game. A lot more time to think about what your move should be. So overall, even though everything's running super slow, it in some games it's still playable. It's just slow. And that seems to be what's happening on all the games. If any of you have found any games that run at normal speed or at least close to it, please just respond in the comments and let us know. Because I can't imagine somebody wanting to dive through the entire NES library to try to find an actual game that plays on this system at normal speed. It may not even be capable of doing so. With reservations, I do feel like this would be a really cool product to add to your library. It's got the two-player control, and that's highly unique within this kind of market. The ability to load some games, though are slow, it's still pretty cool to see stuff in the miniaturized form. So this is not something that you can expect to come in the door being perfect. Again, my first unit, it would not read the SD cards. My second unit, the controller is kind of broken. It won't actually attach to the base correctly. So there's going to be some workmanship issues. It's from China. I would expect to see some more of this kind of stuff in the future, or at least hope to see some that can actually replicate the playback of those games. It'd be nice to also see some devices in the future that support the other systems. Actually, this isn't going to compete with anything that you're used to in terms of a Raspberry Pi, or if you have some of the pre-built Game Boy SP type knockoffs or the PSP knockoffs from China. Those are actually fairly nice. This is the first time that I've seen a device that supports two players in a micro format of the tiny arcades. And if you've got an extra few bucks to put down on something like this, it's a neat little piece in your collection.